Oh, it's great to be here going into the 2022 season, just with the highest optimism that we've ever had here as our staff enters its third year, and just excited to be able to go out there on Friday and play a game versus Purdue Fort Wayne, and just really looking forward to being able to see our guys out there playing. Our coaches have put in so much work. Our administrators our entire system and organization has done such a great job leading up to this point, and it'll be really exciting to get this thing going on Friday night.
I appreciate it. All right, at this time, we'll take questions from members of the media. As a friendly reminder, if you can keep yourself on mute until asking your question and then mute yourself again, we would appreciate it. Go ahead with questions for Coach.
Hey, Coach, it's Marcel Purdue Sports Inquirer. Thanks for joining us. Last season's non-conference schedule was one of the toughest in the nation, if not the toughest. What was your approach to making the schedule for this non-conference slate in 2022 in comparison to your first 2 years with the program?
Well, the first 2 years we came in and we were able to get the job in June and July, or I guess in July and August. So we didn't have a whole lot to go, and the schedule was kind of set for us. Pandemic came around that second year, and we just kind of went all in on the freshmen and the incoming guys, and giving them the best experience to prepare them for really where we're at right now, which is, hey, we need to use the experiences of playing the SEC East and playing such a tough competition, and be able to go out there and use that experience of playing in those places against those teams, so that we can continue to build upon the foundation that we have set. I mean, we were 12-12 last year on the in conference. It was the second highest finish we've had, I think, since 2006. I'm not exactly sure the day, but it's the second highest finish that we've had in a long time. And so, being able to return 97% of the people that we had on that team last year, with the experience of being able to go to Kentucky and Florida and Tennessee and all of Vanderbilt, all the places that we were able to go, I think that there's definitely a quiet optimism surrounding our program right now within our players and our staff and our administrators. So this year, to answer your question, I mean, it's basically back to how many home games can we play? And we want to be able to use, last year as a springboard to go into the conference with the readiness to be able to win it.
How much did it do for you guys last year to finish strong and get in the tournament and win a game? How much does that help you?
Oh, it's a huge deal. I mean, it's a huge deal. I mean, winning a game in the tournament, I think, is invaluable for where we're going, because we know we've been there, we've done it. It's kind of one of those things where you want your team to experience that game, that weekend, and then be able to hopefully propel yourself to a conference tournament championship this year. And we haven't been to a regional since 2009, and that's what we talk about. I mean, we are prepared. We think that we have a good chance to do some really good things, and hopefully it culminates in a regional and a super regional, and who knows what happens after that. But I think we won 18 games last year. 12 were in the conference. We had the number one toughest non-conference schedule in the country. And so, you put all that together, the overall record from, a long distance away doesn't look very good. But what it is inside of us, it's still there. And we know that we can compete at the highest level with the best players and the best teams in the country. And I think that we're taking that what we learned last year into this season.
Coach, I wonder if you could talk about a couple of guys maybe you've seen some jumps from in this offseason as you've gotten ready for this season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that, being able to bring, with COVID happening and then the draft going kind of crazy to 20 rounds from 40 rounds, it eliminated a lot of draft picks. And so we were one of the very fortunate teams to be able to return Ryan Watson, who was one of the top 20 draft pick potentially. Josh Smith was a draft pick, and there was a couple others. And Tyler Cook was able to go play professional baseball. But being able to return Ryan Watson and Josh Smith to our lineup is a really big deal. Being able to bring back Griffin Chaney, our shortstop, being able to have him have a 5th year and a 6th year of experience going out there, leading the infield and kind of leading the culture around where we are is, you know, it's invaluable. We had some really good jumps from Seth Clark, Chandler Dawson, who pitched. I'm not exactly sure if he got the win in the tournaments, but I think that he was an instrumental part of getting there and winning those games in the tournament and down the stretch. He's made some really big jumps. Trey Horton, he'll pitch on Saturday, has made some really good jumps. And so really it's a matter of kind of, the answer is everybody, hopefully. But it's using that experience that we had last year to be able to springboard us into this year to see what we can do and see how much more mature we can be and under control and being able to go out there and play is what we need to do next.
Yeah, elaborate, Marcel, once again, elaborate on Josh Smith from North Springs, just Metro Atlanta. Didn't come up with much fanfare and didn't really produce much his first 2 years, but had a big junior year in 2021. What do you think led to that, and what have you just seen from him? You mentioned he's going to be potentially a pretty high draft pick for the program. Just about talk about his development over the past year.
I mean, I think that a little bit of it is, you know, some guys in baseball are ready to go at 16 and other guys are ready to go at 19 and 20. And I think that he was just kind of a little bit of a late bloomer when it came to, you know, growing. I mean, he's 6'5". I mean, he just keeps growing and keeps, you know, his body's just changing. And I think that was the first couple of years that he had here. He was bouncing around positions. You know, he played first, he played third, he played a little bit of outfield. He kind of just bounced back and forth, but he's put on a lot of weight in the weight room and been able to really dedicate his body to what the nutrition needs are for his body. And so I think that with a little bit of age, a little bit of experience, you know, last year was a great breakout year for him. And I think that, you know, it's going to be nothing but continued upward progression from here on out. And, you know, he's one of those kids where you hope that he kind of peaks while he's in college, but he's also one of those kids that might peak after a couple of years in pro ball, just where his body finally gets to where it is in full maturity. And so, you know, we're excited for him. I mean, it's great to have a local Atlanta kid as one of the faces of your program and to be able to lead us into, you know, the new era.
Watson will be your number one starter. What? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
actually, so we're actually so Ryan Watson pitched a ton last year, and then he threw a lot this summer, and so he had a little bit of a he had a little bit of a setback about, I don't know, January, nothing bad. So he'll probably come out of relief this weekend and next weekend, and then he'll probably jump into the rotation. But yeah, he arguably is definitely the number one starter as we go into conference. And so, you know, that's probably the most important thing for us is we want to make sure that everybody's healthy going into those games where they mean the most. And so he'll pitch a little bit every weekend, and then he'll be set up to be where he needs to be.
What are his strengths?
Yeah, I mean, he's 94, 96. I mean, he throws the ball harder than a lot of people in the world. So, you know, he's just got a good head on his shoulders. He's really dealt with the draft and COVID and going from 40 rounds to 20 rounds really, really well. He's very, very mature. And I think that, you know, he's excited to be able to come back and be able to, you know, take one more year on the mound for Georgia State and really continue to build upon what he has done here personally, which is, you know, there's a lot of kids that have come through here in terms of, you know, Evan Gaddis. There was a kid by the name of, oh my goodness, Nathan Bates, and then Conway. There's another pitcher in Cole Uvala. That's the one I was thinking of. But, you know, I mean, he's the next one in that line of great pitchers to come out of Georgia State. And, you know, David Buchanan made it to the big leagues in 2000 and I believe 10 or 11. And so, you know, that's a guy that, you know, he definitely wants to emulate and prove that he's continued that tradition. But, you know, he's just low key and calm and collected and able to go out there and toe the mound. And every Friday night, we know that we're going to win.
Just talk about playing in the Sun Belt in the sense that like it's a challenge, obviously, but if you get to the end of the year, get to a winning record in conference play, you can really point to that as an achievement because it's a tough league.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it could be argued as a Power Five baseball conference, and in terms of if you just look at the totality of the conference, and especially with what's happening next year with Southern Miss and JMU and Marshall and Old Dominion coming in. I mean, it's an absolute juggernaut where you should have 3 to 5, teams in a regional. And so, be able to go in what we did last year at 12-12, win a game in the tournament. And, being able to win in this conference is a really, really big deal. And we have 10 teams that go to the conference tournament this spring at the end of it. And so I think that we will be one of those. I would be shocked if we're not. But I think that winning in this league is a really, really big deal. And I think that from a national perspective, there's a lot of eyes on us. And I think that, as we continue to grow this conference and bring in the teams and the quality of baseball, throughout the Southeast and now the Northwest or Northeast, I think that we're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time in the future.
Here's Marcel Patu once again. How do you manage Cameron Jones this year? Do you see him more on the mound? Do you want to make him solidify a spot on the field? How do you handle him this year as far as his playing time?
Yeah, no, it kind of goes along the lines of Ryan Watson, with Matt Taylor and Nico Monteo and Lars Davis, our assistant coaches. They've done a tremendous job recruiting. And I think that, our recruiting has done a really good job to put Ryan Watson, Cam Jones in a position where they can be better utilized in other positions potentially. And so, Cam Jones hit a lot for us. I think he led our team in conference hitting last year. And so he's going to start out at first base and DH. He'll play a little bit of left field. He'll be a closer, long relief type of guy. But, we have a lot of horses on the mound this year. And so being able to put him on the offensive side of the ball a little bit more to give his arm a little bit of a rest. And going into the tournament, I think he had about 85 or 89 innings last year. And so hopefully we can go into the tournament with him about half of that. I don't know what'll happen in the future as we get into conference, but there's a chance that he can start. We know he can do it. He pitched Friday nights, hit 3-hole for us for the majority of the season last year. And so we're just going to try to put him in a different role and see if that's going to be better served for his arm and for us. And, everything that we do is tailored towards how do we win at the end of the season? And so I think that puts us in a good position to win at the end of the season, to have him be a little bit more rested. But, he's the link that combines everything on our team. And so he's our go guy. And I expect big things from him this year.
For opening weekend, that's got to be
know,
kind
right?
of strange. But
I know.
are you looking forward to getting started? And what are you most jazzed up about?
You know what? I'm just jazzed for us to take the mound because you play each other for, the last 9 months and you have such optimism, like next year's recruiting class is the 36th or 38th best class in the country. This year's class isn't quite that, but we're a top 10 mid-major class. And so I'm excited to see the progression that the guys who have been here for 2 years with us make and are able to take us into the future. And I'm also excited to see what the returners and the new guys and the incoming freshmen can do, because we have a lot of pieces that are really good baseball players. And it's a matter of kind of finding what works through playing, through what happens, through mistakes, who can really turn it on when the lights turn on, or who kind of shies away from that bright lights. And it's just exciting to be able to go out there and play a different opponent and see what your coaches can do. And this is our time. This is our time of the year. And so it's that probably brings me the most excitement. It's not necessarily one singular pitch or day. It's just kind of the culmination of all of the work and the effort that you've put. And now let's see if you can actually put into play what you've been practicing and how we can take this to the next level.